Hey, this is Jamie from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about the game SolForge Fusion, which I played 2 games of just last night. It's a head-to-head dueling style card game that has hints of Keyforge, if you're familiar with Keyforge, but has some unique elements to it as well. Quite a few unique elements, really. And I really enjoyed the game, and I have a few mechanisms that I want to highlight. I don't know if I have a particular favorite out of these, so I'll just mention a few different mechanisms that I think are really cool. The first happens at the beginning of the game, when you decide to fuse 2 decks together. And so SolForge Fusion, unlike Keyforge, you have 2 unique decks instead of 1 unique deck, and you'll just shuffle those 2 decks together, or shuffle some of the cards from those 2 decks together. I like this deck building mechanism, where you're not really doing all that much deck construction. You're not choosing individual cards to go in the game into your deck. Rather, you're just saying, okay, I like this deck. I think it will go well with this deck. They can't be the same color. There are 4 colors in the game, I believe. You have to choose 2 different colors, and you mash them up. I think that's a cool mechanism. We've seen that in other games, but I think that's a nice way to start the game. The second thing is that on a turn in SolForge Fusion, it's kind of hard to say for some reason, you play a card. On any given turn, all you do is play 1 card. And a turn in the game is technically like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a turn is both players taking 2 turns. But I'm going to talk about a turn as 1 single action. So we'll each take 2 actions. An action is to play a card. And the neat thing about this game is the cards don't have cost. I don't know if you can see that in this photo here. It's a little hard to tell, but they don't have cost. You can just play any card, play any 1 card. I think that's really cool to take the idea of like mana cost or cost out of playing the cards. Instead, the choice is which card is best for you to play in this moment and where do you want to play that card. So I think that's really cool. We're getting to the third mechanism, and I think this is maybe the top highlight for me, because this is the thing that this game does in a really unique way, which is that you get to level up your cards, /level up / upgrade your cards. And I took photos of them here. So there are 3 levels of the cards. At the beginning of the game, you shuffle all the kind of brown-gray bordered cards into the deck. That is your starting deck. And so you can see here, I have this Aegis Wings card right here, and it says, it's a spell. It says, give a creature +2 power. This turn, it gets mobility 1. So remember that, +2 power, this turn it gets mobility 1. However, as soon as I play that card, it goes into play, or actually the spell card will go into the banished pile, and right away when I play it, whether it's a spell or a creature, I will take the level 2 card and I'll put it in my discard pile. And that means that later in the game, the leveled up version of this card will be in my deck instead of the original version of the card. And so the leveled up version says, give a creature +4 power. This turn, it gets mobility 2, and plus, this card is free. So in every single way, this card is more powerful. Free means that it doesn't actually take an action to play it. You can do something else on that turn. And then finally, we have the level 3. So once I played this level 2 card, it goes in my banished pile. I put the level 3 card in my discard pile. It says, give a creature +8 power. This turn, it gets mobility 3. This is also free. So every time you play a card, it gets better. This is a mechanism that I talked about recently in the game, Free Ascent? I want to make sure I say that right. Yeah, Free Ascent, a rock climbing game. Looking at my collection over here. The idea is that simply by doing something, you are getting better at doing that thing. I am getting better at casting this spell. I am playing a creature. That creature is powering up because it's out there in the world. I love this idea in the game. And I've heard reviewers talk a little bit about how it can be a little cumbersome, a little hard to remember. Maybe a little bit to actually take the card over because you're so focused on the card you just played instead of the next version of that card. But we found it pretty easy to just count the number of cards in your deck at the end of each round, because you should pretty much always have 20 cards in your deck. And that way you can find if you missed any. But it feels really good for these cards to be more powerful. And it means that even while playing the same exact deck, the cards that you play, and the order in which you play them, where you play them, and which cards you decide to level up, because you're only leveling up 2 cards per turn in the game, and a total of 6 cards per cycle of the game, that changes the gameplay completely. So last night we played multiple games. I played with pretty much the same deck. I swapped out half of the deck and I played with the other half twice. But I leveled up completely different cards, so I get to see different cards level up throughout the game. And also, part of the decision space is It feels really good in later cycles to see these leveled up cards show up in your hand. But once you play them, it means that you are removing them from your deck, or at least the spells are, and the creatures are going to be banished at some point probably. They'll be defeated. And so once you play this level 3 card, it's out of your deck. And so you have to decide, am I going to play this right now? Do I have a chance at winning with this level 3 card, or do I need to hold on to it for a future cycle? It feels really good to have these cards level up and to see them show up in your deck later, because you did that. You played the card. You decided which card leveled up. Yeah, I just think that is really, really cool. Also, the last twist to this, with this idea of a 20-card deck, always having 20 cards, is that each cycle is 3 turns. And so you're essentially you are playing 3 turns of 5 cards. So on my first turn, I'll have 5 cards in hand. I'll play 2 of them, and then I'll discard the others. Then I'll draw 5 more cards. I'll play 2 of them, discard the others, and I'll do that again. And I don't think you're ever really drawing from your deck. I didn't see a card that has you draw from the deck, so it's always 5 cards. But that means at the end of each cycle, there are 5 cards that you didn't play, that you never even saw. And so that adds such an interesting twist to the game too, because you may level up a card and not see it. There's no guarantee that you will level up a card. And so it means that even though some cards are becoming super, super powerful in the game, and again, you get to play them for free, even though they're super powerful now, you aren't guaranteed to see them. So I think that's a neat little twist as well. But yeah, this leveling up mechanism, if I have to pick one, the level up mechanism is the heart of the game. It's a really, really cool mechanism, and I really enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts. If you played Soulforge Fusion, or if you played another game where you are automatically leveling up cards, I think that's a really cool mechanism that I'd love to see in other games as well. Those are my thoughts on Soulforge Fusion.